Welcome, guys, to ILWPOD. I'm your host, as always, Justin Wright. Today, we are welcomed here with Chicago Style Wrestling Zone, FXB Blacksheep. How you doing, man?
I'm doing all right. How about you? How you doing?
Excited, blessed to be here. Something we've been working on for probably a month now, actually, dodging each other back and forward.
Yeah,
uh, it's the name of the game.
absolutely. Life don't stop. Got to keep going.
Yeah. Before we get into like any questions or anything, do you want to plug any like social medias or merchandise or upcoming events, stuff like that?
I guess I'll plug a CSW January 17th, the season premiere. Um, you know, I'm always selling my merch there. I'm always part of the show over there. Uh, and I know I'll be on the card. I'm not too sure what I'm doing yet, but I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's
Definitely.
good.
You had a pretty decent spot at the last CSW show.
Yeah.
Uh, Something I enjoyed. I just like right before that show, I talked actually with Eddie and Jack.
Oh,
So
okay.
like I was excited for that match. I know I've known Jack for quite some time, but I was excited for that match and to see you in the whole Santa Claus get up and beat the crap out of Jack and Eddie was cool.
No, yeah. It was a good time for my end. Well, up until the end, but no, I loved it. No, it was. I had a lot of fun in that match. We we beat the hell out of Jack and Eddie. They were definitely marked up, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was really looking forward to the match. I wasn't sure how exactly it was gonna go. I already had a lot of ideas in my head of what I wanted from it and all that, and it turned out it was a lot of fun, and everybody really loved it. I mean, I couldn't be happier with it. Not everything happened the way it should have, but by the end of the match, it didn't really matter. The people loved it. We loved it. Everybody was up for it.
That might have been, other than the main event, which of course had Matt Cardona in it.
Yeah.
That was probably the hottest match of the night. Was the Chicago Street Fight?
Yeah, I don't like to say like I had the match at night or anything like that, but for that match, I did think we had the match at night. I think we all killed it. I thought we all went out there and we gave it our all. We went hard, and yeah. The ending was just everybody was on their feet. Everybody loved it. I couldn't ask for anything more out of it.
Um, what's it like getting involved, like with, like for instance, Papa Grayson, Eddie Grayson's dad? What's it like getting involved with somebody that might be considered a fan, but he's also closely tied?
I love it. I love beating on civilians. First time we did something with a kid or at a different promotion, Northland, if you've ever been there. I got to hit one of the wrestlers' kid who was like 9 or 10 at the time with a chair, and so I'm not above it. I love beating on innocence and all that stuff. I absolutely enjoy it. I don't have any reservations when it comes down to that.
Okay. What would you say it's like working with two guys like Jack and Eddie, for instance, who are so young, not only in life but in the ring?
Oh man, like you said, they're young, so it just reminds me a lot when I was young, and I just look back on that time, and I just remember how dumb I was. Kids are dumb. Until you know, honest to God, I think all kids are idiots. Because I was an idiot too. But they're young and they got a long way to go. They're not. I'm sure they're ambitious and they're anxious to get ahead and ahead and ahead, but they got plenty of time ahead of them. I know Eddie just graduated, so and then Jack was like the year before, so they time's on their side right now, and they're doing it at their age as far as long as they've been doing it, they're doing a good job, and they got a long road ahead of them. I know they're gonna do some good stuff. Looking forward.
Definitely. Usually I start with my next question. When did you find wrestling? Like, as whether it was a kid or later on, like, when did you find this sport that we love?
I don't remember how old I was. I was young, and I just, yeah, I don't know what it was. I've always known I've loved wrestling. You know, just because of one specific moment. I just remember being a little kid. I was just laying on my mom's carpet watching TV with my brother, and my brother was just flipping through channels, and he flipped to SmackDown. This one they still had the fist and everything, you know. So it was a good while ago, and it was literally a nothing match. You know, everybody will say like, "Oh, Stone Cold and The Rock, this match got me into wrestling." It was Kane versus MVP on a regular episode of Friday Night SmackDown, and Kane won via disqualification because Mr. Kane. I remember it exactly. I'll never forget the moment. I'll never forget the match and everything that happened or the moment. But as Mr. Kennedy came out, attacked Kane, I don't know what it was. Something clicked from that moment on. I can't even tell you Kane's my favorite wrestler. He's not. But like just I remember just seeing that on TV and like just as I don't know, I must have been 8 years old or something. And it's just I saw that and I was just like, yeah, I don't know what this is. This is just this is awesome. I know this is what I want to do. It's just I've always known since then. Like I've always wanted to be a wrestler. I've always wanted to be a wrestler, no matter what. Like I've always known what I want to do. I've gone like different paths just in case, you know, not trying to make excuses or anything like that. But, you know, real life, you know, you got bills in real life and stuff like that. And, but like, I've always known just like since I was 8 years old, John Cena was my first favorite wrestler. You know, I was a WWE kid for a lot of my life growing up, you know?
Definitely, I can relate.
Yeah.
What like about the sport would you say like whether then or now captivates you the most? Is it the characters or the in ring work? Like what about it draws you in?
Everything. I like, for me, everything is important to it. Like down to the ref, down to the stage, to the entrance arena. I always tell everybody like I'm so like now at least now like I'm an independent, so it's like I keep my I I'm grounded with a lot of my stuff. But I always tell people like if I were to main event at WrestleMania, everything has to be on point. The character, the ring work, the gear, I was telling one of my friends the other day, like if the WrestleMania stage isn't awesome and it isn't cool, then that would it doesn't it won't work for me, you know. But like everything has like for me everything like down to the production, the lights, the entrance, just the presentation. I just love it all. Like to me, it all plays a factor. I'm not a believer in it's just like just the ability and what you could do in the ring. It's important, trust me, but it's the stories and the characters and making it feel like something big. There's a big difference between having a great match, just for the fun of it, and then having a great match that feels big. It feels important.
Yeah. Were you a sports kid growing up? Did you participate in like football, basketball, anything like that?
Uh, I did. I played football. I wasn't good at it. I was a bench. I was a bencher, which is fine. I mean, I anything I would ever did. Sorry, anything I ever did in high school, or athletic wise, I always kind of did it for wrestling, just because I know it had to get myself in better shape, and I had to do all this stuff to be a wrestler and this and that. Uh, Truthfully, I don't really care much for sports or anything like that. I'll watch a Super Bowl or anything like that, or I'll go to a sporting event. That's always fun. But if I'm somewhere and there's sports on, whether it's soccer, basketball, football, I'd always much rather be watching wrestling. It just doesn't hold my attention like wrestling does.
As a wrestling fan, I couldn't agree more. Like I've done football, I wrestled in high school. I've thought about playing baseball, things like that, but
Yeah,
nothing ever stuck like professional wrestling. Like nothing. I was still wanting to watch Raw every Monday, SmackDown every Thursday, Friday, whenever it was. Like
Yeah.
it just nothing else in life clicks like wrestling does.
No, absolutely. It's like, and I always support, especially Chicago teams, and I always support. Like I always want Chicago to win or shit, anything like that. But yeah, at the end of the day, wrestling is my number one. There's nothing more. There's nothing more in this world I'd rather be watching than wrestling. Like don't get me wrong, I don't always want to watch wrestling, but I, like when it comes down to sports and anything like that, wrestling is my number one passion. Like yeah, it's just nothing sticks. Yeah, it's like you said, nothing holds for me.
What was your first like live experience? Do you remember?
Oh man, I was so. I mean, I didn't really have a lot of opportunities to go to wrestling shows coming up. I didn't go to my first actual like real wrestling show until I was already in college. We were because I went to school in Miami, and I
Okay.
always go to a wrestling show, and I just never I mean I was a kid, so I had no money, but it's not like my parents ever took me. To be fair, up until maybe like 2 years ago, I'd never been to an actual Chicago sporting event. My wife
Okay.
was the one that took me to a Cubs game. Like I've never really gone to anything like that. And so I think in college, I really wanted to go. I really wanted to go see. It wasn't a live. It was a live. It was a house show. It was like an NXT house show. And
Okay.
I just remember we were in school in Miami, and we had to rent a car to drive up like 2 hours to Port St. Lucie. And it was like it was in the little high school gym. It was an NXT house show. I saw Adam Cole there. I saw Leo Rush there. A couple other NXT talents, but that was like I think that was pretty much my first real live wrestling experience.
What's up? Um, you mentioned going to college. Was that something that you thought to do first before you started training, or did you do any training before you went?
No, I didn't do any training before I went. I looked into it for like a second, but I never actually pulled the trigger for it. I don't know why specifically, but I always wanted to go to college. Even as a kid, I always knew I just wanted that to be something. It's something I want to do. I wanted just to get a degree, and then when I got older, I mean, it's just wrestling's always been like I said, I always knew I wanted to be a wrestler. I don't know, it was just I didn't know how to get into it. I don't know what I had to do, and I think Chicago. I looked into Chicago style wrestling once, but I don't remember if I don't know if you've ever been on the CSW website, but it's not entirely modern, and
Yeah,
so
it's a little tough to navigate.
yeah, and especially in high school, like it's just I looked it up and just nothing ever happened, and then I went through everything. I went to school, I did 2 years, got my associates, and I had a blast, and then that's where I met my wife, and we moved back to Chicago together because she's also from here in Chicago, and
Okay.
I didn't actually really take my first steps forward into wrestling until after we got married. And I always give my credit to my wife. Like she was the one who she because I always used to say I'll pay off my credit cards and then I'll go to wrestling. I'll go train. Like I'll pay off my credit cards and I'll go train. And she was just the one who's like, you gotta do it now. You're not getting any younger. Just do it. See if see if it sticks and all that. And I did it. And to this day, I still haven't paid off my credit cards. So it's good. I did it then.
What was it that like? Do you think that pushed her to push you to go do this dream?
She knew I loved it. She knew I loved it. She all since day one, like she didn't think we'd be at where we're at now, as far as me being in it and performing and doing what I do in the ring and everything like that, and just trying to get booked up every weekend and not being around. But she knew I loved it since we first met. She knew I always watched it. Like I remember showing her wrestling. She actually wasn't a fan, and even to this day is like she understands it and she gets why we do it and why I love it and all this. But she's supportive and that's all I really asked for her. But I mean, it's just she knew I loved it and she knew I really always wanted to do it. And I guess she knew that maybe if I never did it, I probably would have regretted it. And I think that's what she wanted to avoid.
I could say I probably have a similar household, maybe to a lesser extent because I'm not a wrestler, but like even doing this podcast, it's something my fiance knows that I enjoy doing and I love wrestling.
Yeah.
The name of the podcast, but like so she pushes me to do it more. And then like I've even recently caught her, like for instance, this last week Dynamite was on HBO Max for the first time and I caught her sneaking a peek. So like I get it.
No, yeah, absolutely. She's come a long way. I'll tell her all the time. She's come a long way because she'll even use like inside terms with me, and she'll say movie names, and it's really cool. And like every now and then, she'll watch it with me, and she'll see some of the things that we see as wrestling fans and as wrestlers, and just little things, and you know, she loves drama, and she gets the drama aspect of it, and so it's really fun. It's really fun to see how far she's come, and I think it's adorable when she uses word like she'll say heat and she'll say over and she'll say pop and all this other stuff and baby face and all this stuff. She'll bust it out every now and then. I think it's just the funniest thing in the world.
Throws out the insider baseball.
Yeah, it's just
That's great.
yeah. She'll use those terms and just I just think it's hilarious.
Is she somebody that's like goes to shows with you and helps you like at events and stuff like that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She doesn't make it to every show, which I mean, just realistic.
It can be tough.
Yeah, but for these bigger ones, especially CSW, because it's not too far from us. It's literally like a 15-minute drive. The school and the shows, so she'll be there with me. She helps sell my gear. She'll record my matches, if I ask her to. She absolutely she's a big help for me. She does more, she does a lot, and I appreciate it a lot. To the point where even some fans recognize her and they know her, and they think she's a wrestler, and she's not.
That's badass.
Yeah,
Shout out to your supportive wife.
yeah.
May more of them be like that.
It's hard finding one like that. I know, relationships and wrestling don't really mix a lot, but it's just a lot of sacrifice, and I couldn't ask for anything better. She doesn't have to love it for me. Like she doesn't have to love it. She doesn't have to be there for every show. She's just supportive, and she supports me, and she's like she'll back me up.
That's what's up. So was CSW where you landed first to figure out training and stuff like that?
Yeah. So I remember. So after we had that conversation, she told me like, "You now get off your ass." I messaged somebody who he doesn't wrestle anymore, but he used to for Gali Lucha. His name was Psycho J. Uh, yeah, he had a kid. He doesn't wrestle no more, but he gave me a list of schools. It was Gali Lucha, it was freelance, and then it was CSW. And he basically gave me the rundown. Freelance is uh, he basically told me freelance is more expensive. Gali's Lucha Libre, and then CSW is just kind of a good American traditional school, and so I kind of figured like that's kind of more me, just more traditional wrestling. He gave me Steve Boz's number. I'm sure you know who that is.
Yep.
And and I just messaged Boz, and we talked, and just talked about joining the school and everything like that, and just I came down to the school, and now I'm here. Like 3 years in training, and it's just I couldn't imagine a different world.
What was your first like interaction with Boz, maybe in person? What was that like?
I just remember being so nervous and just Boz is he'll definitely work you. No, I love Boz. I just remember being so nervous. I was actually I was actually taking steps towards it, and so I always say I don't like to I'm easy to get talked into something like I don't like to be left around salesmen or anything like that because
I
I
understand.
I always get talked to, and that's what I always say. Like I gotta have my wife with me or something like that because I'll get talked into. Like if I went to a car dealership, I would come home with a brand new car because somebody would talk me into it, and then I'd just be at home like fuck. But he Boz talked me into like a personal training lessons, what I did with him for like a year, which is just like working out and all that. And then I was also doing the school stuff too, you know. But I love Boz. Boz is a good dude. He cares. He loves all of us. He cares for all of us. You know, he takes care of us, and it's just the first time I mean, the first time you meet Boz, he's cool. He's understanding. He you could tell he loves wrestling, and he loves getting people into wrestling.
Yeah. I've had two conversations with him in person. I've messaged him a little bit, but I've had two like interactions with him. The first one, um, it was trying to get him on the podcast, and it was immediately like, "Yeah, I'll do it." Just for one, we got to find time. For two, you're gonna have to find me. And I was like,
Yeah,
okay, I respect it. Which has been a lot of my interaction with people that have been in the business as long as him.
yeah.
Um, and then my second one was at the last CSW show, actually. And he really cares about what each person at the event thinks of the show.
Oh yeah.
Like, there's probably three people in front of myself who were talking to him, and each one, what'd you think? How you doing? Can I do anything for you? Like, he definitely cares, which you don't see from a lot of promoters, especially anymore. Like that time to care about each person.
No,
It's unique.
yeah, no. He loves CSW. He cares for CSW. He wants CSW to be jam packed. He wants CSW to be number one promotion in Chicago. And to be fair, we all do it at CSW. I want it to be that way, and it's like he loves the fans, because a lot of fans are there to see him. He has a good following there at CSW, but yeah, no, he absolutely loves it. And the shows lately they've been spot on. So you know,
Knocking him out of the park for sure. Um, how long was it before you got to get in the ring for your first like actual match?
oh, I remember I had so I it's tough to think. I started. It's hard to remember when I started training. I know I had my first match 2023. It was in January. It was at LLT in Berwyn. It
Okay.
was a match with two people I respect a lot, and I'm sorry, Adam Stallion and then Mateo Valentine. That was the first. That was the first real match I had because prior to that I had done some battle royals, um, like two or three battle royals, which I don't really count as like they were fun. Don't get me wrong, I had a blast doing them, but I don't really count them as like a match. But like the first actual match was like January 2023, so it makes it easy for that. That makes it easy for me to remember like just how long I've actually been in ring wrestling and all that. Training, I kind of get fuzzy with it because I know it's over the summer or something like that. I've been at it for like about 3 years or something like that. So yeah.
Okay. Has FXB been your character the whole time?
The Black Sheep has uh
Okay.
that that has always been that's been for a long time. I don't know when I thought about it, but at some I've known the Black Sheep for a while. FXB is it's just my initials. It's my initials for my actual name. And prior to that, so the reason I go as FXB is because prior to that, the name that I had since I was 8 years old, or that I always wanted since I was 8 years old, like if I'd played in WWE, like my character's name would be Extreme, just Extreme. And then I got older and I was like, it can't be really. It's not gonna. It wouldn't work as a name like realistic.
Yeah.
I had to think of anything else. I honestly couldn't think of anything else, and so I was just like, you know what, FXB. They're not bad initials, so I'm just gonna go with that. And it's just
Where did the face paint come from?
Same thing as the Black Sheep. I've always known I wanted to do face paint.
Okay.
I like one of my shirts, one of my early shirts has a character drawn on it, and it has like my smile like that. I've drawn that character for years, just in different variations. It's always been that type of pose. It's always had the jack-o'-lantern face. I've always known I wanted to do face paint. It's just when I finally got to do it, I was just nervous of whether or not I was gonna look good or not. And then I did it, and I was just like, I loved it. It was exactly how I wanted it, and it was cool actually. Just the first time, just like putting it on, it was just cool. I just loved putting it on just because it's like, I mean, I've just imagined it since I was a kid, just drawing it on paper, just the same smile, the eyes, the mouth, everything like that, and just to see it on my face, it's like, yeah, it was awesome.
Is it, would you consider it unique to do the face paint and also play a heel or bad guy character?
I think it helps. It definitely helps. Something that a lot of people will tell you is like, it's like if you saw yourself on a poster, would you want to go see? Would you want to go see that show? And people, I always tell people like, yeah, yeah. If I saw myself on a poster, I'd want to go see that wrestler because I think it looks cool. And I'm definitely a fan. Not to toot my own horn, but I definitely love the face paint. And as a heel, yeah, I think it helps. And it's just it. Me being a heel or a bad guy is just me kind of just it's just me being me, but just kind of a little, just the most would, just no morals, no moral codes or anything like willing to do anything. Like I said, I hit a kid with a chair. I'm not above, just it's just me being just like the most me is what I could say. And so it definitely helps with that. As far, I mean, I also think, I mean, the face paint looks cool. I think everybody really likes it and enjoys it. So it a lot of times when I'll make my entrance at places where it's like my first time there or people don't really know me, then I'll get cheered because of the look and because of the face paint and because of my gear. And then I start acting the way I do, and then it kind of it turns over eventually,
Okay.
So I kind initially I think people want to cheer it. I think people want to like it. So I initially I always have to kind of set that bar. It's just like, nah, I'm kind of a dick. So
Okay. Um, like, would you, what would you say like the inspiration is from it? Like, is there anybody like growing up that made you think face paint, or is it something that you just decided, hey, I'm going to do it?
sorry, that's my dog.
You're
Uh,
good.
I don't. I honestly can't. I honestly don't recall if anybody inspired it. Um, when I was a kid, I was a big Daddy. I was a big Daddy guy. If Daddy told me to cheer, I cheered. If they told me to boo, I booed.
Okay.
I didn't really start thinking my own until like high school and stuff like that. But I don't know what I honestly don't know what inspired the face paint. I
Fair
know
enough.
what inspires me now is kind of just so I'm not the most athletic person in the world. I think I'm pretty fairly athletic for as big as I am, and all that. I think I could do some cool stuff. Um but I try to take as much inspiration. I take a lot of inspiration from people like Undertaker, people like Stone Cold. I'm sure you can see them in moveset. Just as far as aggression goes, and I do like to be a bit flashy. I am dramatic. I am, I do like I do like certain things that are a little bit more flashier. So if like I always tell people, it's like if I could mix wrestlers into myself from the past, I'd say I'm a little bit of, I don't know, Stone Cold, Undertaker, and Shawn Michaels is probably the three people I'd want. I
Clump
Yeah,
clump together to make yourself.
yeah. Those are my main inspirations for how I try to I craft myself. Just it's just like just the attitude, the athleticism, the just the aggression and stuff like that.
Okay. What like so far I've seen you in street fights, ladder matches, um, bull rope matches. Like, do you prefer being in stipulations or do you like that one-on-one singles match?
I like singles matches because I get to show what I can do more. I love a good stipulation. I love stipulation matches, especially something like a TLCA, Extreme Rules match. Um, even something like a bull rope match, isn't which isn't a stipulation I was always a fan of as a kid. But now I'm older, I could appreciate a little bit more, and I appreciate the challenge that comes along with that, and try to in making it good, and making it just appeal to people and all that. So I appreciate those. I appreciate the different types of stories you can tell in these certain type of matches. Because I, I had a ladder match once, and I wouldn't say it was perfect. There was a lot of things I'd probably change up in it and change in it, but I always I always like just the challenge of it, just making it an actual good match of working with what you got, and just it's like, especially in these stipulation matches, and it's not just hitting people and being violent. There has to be something in it to really get the people involved.
Yeah. Like, what would you say, or who would you say has been your biggest maybe rival so far in your couple years in the business?
Oh, I wouldn't say rival yet, but I know Rafael Quintero. Yeah, I know me and him, we have great chemistry, and I know come the opportunity that if we were to tell a story together, I know it could be great. I know it'd probably be one of the best stories that anybody would see, because I know what we can do together. I know, like, if we got out there and we just let loose and just win the balls to the wall, then then we would kill it.
What is it about Quintero that like you think gives you guys such unique chemistry?
Honestly, I have no clue, because I remember the first day I ever met Quintero. I could tell right off the bat we had good chemistry. It honestly, when it comes down to him, it's just natural. There's no tricks to it. We just kind of flow good together. He's not the only one. I've also had not the greatest chemistry with everybody. I know Lizardman, Nathan Nile. The very first time we wrestled, we didn't have that chemistry, but I think we wrestled at MCW less than a year ago or something like that. We had a great match, but that came from us both growing and learning and gaining experience, and really developing ourselves as performers. That we were able to pull that off. But the first match we ever had together was not great. We talk about it all the time. It wasn't a great match. But we were also a lot younger. We were a lot greener, and it just didn't work out like that. But there's some people I have good chemistry with, like Jack and Eddie. I could work with them. We have good chemistry together. There's a couple other wrestlers, and then there's just some that I don't. But I mean, we could work things out, and just put on a good show.
Um, we just got out of 2024, so it feels only right to ask, what would you say is your maybe lowest point in 2024 and your highest point in 2024?
Highest point, I'll say highest right now. Just probably it'd probably either be the beginning, because the beginning started off really. I had a blast because my birthday is at the beginning of the year, so it's the 6th of January. So I remember starting 2024. Uh, I had a show on my birthday, which it's honestly just probably the best way I'd want to celebrate my birthday. Is wrestling, and that was great. That was actually a really fun night. My family came out. I won the match. Um, I wouldn't say it was a banger of a match, but it was a fun match. I had a good time. I faced Kyle Kelly, and that street fight, is just the way it went. It was a hell of a way to end the year and everything like that. Um, I'm trying to think as far as lowest. Um, there might. Mm, I don't know. There's nothing that points out too much. Maybe just some like maybe just some matches that weren't great, but I try not to beat myself up too much. Like I did that already when those happened, but it's just whether I was just mentally off or just life was just really having his way with me. It's just that's probably it. Just being in my head for certain times and all that. But I mean, other than that, it's just I can't say there was any real low moment. I didn't get I wasn't seriously injured. And there was I didn't hurt anybody, anything like that. Overall it wasn't a bad year. It could have been. One second. Oh, okay, sorry, that was my dog. Uh,
You're good.
but yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just it was a good year overall. Was it perfect? No, Would I can I say it was my year? No, I mean, but that's what I look forward to now. Is just keep going and going and going.
Of course. Going into this new year, what can we expect from FXB?
Just expect me to work harder. I'm trying to get on bigger shows. I'm trying to get on more shows. Um, this 2024, I was working a lot as far as shows wise goes. But I could always get booked more. That's basically the goal is just be around more, go out more. I want to go out of state for sure, which I have been out of state, but I want to get out of the Midwest region.
Okay.
I would love to go either of the coast. It's just I'd say just expect that from me, just working harder, trying to prove myself more, really trying to put myself on the map. Just trying to make myself more recognizable and just build a bigger fan base. Also, I got to
Okay.
work media. I'm not great with social media. That's definitely been I hate social media. I know it's important for wrestlers. It's very, very important, but I'm not great at it. So I'm getting better at that.
It sounds funny as a podcaster because my job is social media, but I hate it too. I don't know. The internet nowadays is the most toxic place to be,
Uh,
and it's tough. It's so tough. But I agree with you in the goal of being better on social media. My personal self. Uh, I Wrestling
yeah.
fans can be tough too.
No, no,
It's a
absolutely.
tough crowd.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And that's not even what bothers me. It's just I'm just lazy with social media sometimes. I don't like posting. I've always been a little bit more of kept to myself type of person. So, it's never been natural for me just to post and post and post. So I'm definitely getting used to it. I want to make more content, more entertaining content just to show more aspects of my character and everything like that. But yeah, it's just yeah, I gotta get better.
Something that like coming through your social medias and stuff that I have noticed is like you've done kind of like little commercials for like merch.
Yeah.
What goes into making them? They're very entertaining. So like, where'd that come about?
Just like I said, like I try to show different aspects of my character. I don't look at my character as just a one note person. I kind of look at him like I said, I take inspiration from Stone Cold and Undertaker and Shawn Michaels, but at the same time, also I also like the aspect of him being like a Joker, Deadpool character. There's nothing. I try not to limit what I my personality. Like I'm somebody who could be mean and could be aggressive and could be a bully, but I'm also somebody that it's just it's like I said, because of the way my personality is, just I'm willing to do anything. I don't shy away. Like I don't care what other people think as much. So I'm willing to say and do things that are just be just some wild stuff to say, or just it's just like I find humor in something. I love dark humor, and so I'm always willing to laugh at some terrible stuff, and I just kind of like my character being like that. It's just my character can transform into anything he needs to be. It's just why do I always advertise my merch and things like that? Because of money. Because money. Because my character loves money. My character loves exposure. He loves advertising himself because himself is number one. So so it's like I just love showing those different aspects of it. It's not just dark and brooding. It's comedic, and it's just so outrageous and degenerate. So much outrageous and degeneracy that it's entertaining.
Yeah. Um, Something new in wrestling news that's happened recently is WWE announced the ID system. We've been fortunate to have somebody in the Chicago area get called out for that. Is that something that you have your eye on?
Oh, absolutely. God damn. Yeah, I would love that more than anything. No, yeah, absolutely. So I know the I don't know what it's called. The NIL program's been around
Yeah,
for all that stuff, and just I've always wanted to see something for just independent wrestlers, just because it's independent wrestling, and I love seeing independent wrestlers make it to the top. Because when you're wrestling on the independents, I mean you got to do it because you love it. You can't tell me it's because of the money, because there ain't no money. So it's just like you gotta love it. You have to love it. I love it. All the people I work with, they love it. They love wrestling. So yeah, no, absolutely. I would love to be part of the ID program. I could probably charge more money. Um, but it's just yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to the futures. I think it's a good sign. I think it's positive. It's just I know people don't really know what it means yet, or what's how it's gonna play out, but I'm excited. Hopefully more opportunities like that get passed out to Chicago wrestlers.
definitely. I mean, there's a lot of great talent in the Chicago area. So it's about time that we get the recognition that we deserve, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. No,
Um, Go ahead.
no, go ahead. You're good.
I was gonna say, I was gonna wrap it up. Usually I end on a fun question. There's a debate always. I don't know if debate's the right word, but there's always a toss up of who the Mount Rushmore can be.
Okay.
So if you have four guys that you personally would put on there, who would they be and why?
See, I love wrestling, and I love wrestling history. Like, so when I always say like who I consider to be the like or Mount Rushmore, I always consider the people who did the most for wrestling. Who really impacted it the most. So shit, I've never actually had to put one together. I would say Stone Cold's on there because of his impact. I'd put the Undertaker on there. Uh, I'd put I want to say Hogan, but I'm gonna put Ric Flair on there, and then I'll put Luthez on there just because he played a very important role in wrestling, just in those early days. I know a lot, just when it comes down to territories and stuff like that, he was somebody who helped build that system, and uh, I think he had a very impactful and important role in just the world of professional wrestling where it is now.
Definitely. I like it. I've actually never got those on here, so that's cool. It's one that you'd think might be more like might be on there more often. It's a surprising one.
No, yeah, I love wrestling history, man. I love history in general. I think that's I think I'm getting old because it's just a it's just yeah. I don't know if you watch Shane Gillis or anything like that, but he says it's like you start watching World War II documentaries and Fox News is like when you know you're getting older. You uh, he says it's early onset Republican, so uh, I, I love wrestling history. I love the way it was formed. I love reading about wrestlers that nobody knows about who helped build this. People like I don't know Mildred Burke or Buddy Rogers, original Nature Boy, or Antonio Rocca. Just these wrestlers nobody knows. But they're in his. I just love history. I think I respect it and just it's just yeah. I think you can't forget it.
And like whether you're a wrestler or a podcaster or whatever, like knowing the business makes sense, and like being a student of the game makes sense. So it's nice to see somebody that also dives deep for those little wrestling bits of knowledge.
Yeah, no, yeah, I love it. Like I said, wrestling consumes my life. Like it's all I do, all I care about. So I try to. I'm always studying. I'm always doing something with wrestling. There's never a day in my life where I'm either not watching wrestling or a video about wrestling or hearing about wrestling. It's been there's been my life every day for like the past 20 years as far as I know. So it's just yeah, man. It's life, it's love, it's everything.
Definitely. Man, I really do appreciate you being on here. Thank you so much to yourself. And I want to just give a special shout out to everybody at CSW.
Yeah,
You guys are like, it's a nice community of people to get into. So I'm glad that I've been able to kind of break in that barrier and start talking to you guys. I just want to show my gratitude to not only yourself but the CSW family.
no, absolutely. And good luck to you on your podcast, brother. I had fun. It was a blast.
Thank you. Maybe we can get you on here maybe a little later in the year or something.
No, absolutely, absolutely. It's just I'm planning to make this a good year, so just stick.
Sounds good.
We'll see what happens.
All right, I'll leave it off on see you later then.
All right, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you.